this is Star Shadow with Sci-Fi Beyond. Today we're going to be talking about, well, reviewing and talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. I guess confusing because they all have home in their names. We were going to originally do this interview. We originally wanted to get it up Friday, but we thought we'd wait a little bit longer. Because after our spoiler-free review, we will have a bit of a spoiler-filled discussion. And we thought we'd let more people get a chance to see it before we put this up.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I would rather do it in a month, but then everything will be dying down by then.
Yeah.
If you don't see it after a month, that's just kind of like on you.
Yeah, but for now, to begin with, obviously you have to go see it. Even if, like we did, we went at 1 in the morning.
That's the only spots that were actually
open. The other thing was open, but if you can, you have to see it in a theater on big screen, because let me tell you, it is worth it. If Sony and Marvel never make another Spider-Man movie ever again, I would be happy with that being the last one they ever make. That's how good it was for me.
I loved it. I love Doctor Strange especially because, you know, he's from the first get-go, he's been a good doctor, but he always had that, like, a little uncertainty in you, like, he always had confidence too, of course, but now he's just growing into, like, the Doctor Strange from the cartoons, like, he's actually Doctor Strange now. I mean, he always was, but I don't know if you know what I mean. If you were a fan of the cartoons and the comic books, you'll know what I mean.
Yeah, that is true. I feel like Benedict has come more into the role of Doctor Strange as the movies went on, to the point where he's kind of like Robert Downey Jr. was with Iron Man now. He kind of is Doctor Strange now. Like, before he used to be Sherlock, but now he's just Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it. It was really enjoyable, for us. And it's kind of sad I can say this, but Raimi's original trilogy of Spider-Man movies was our childhood superhero movies, along with X-Men and a few others. So, to see William Dafoe and Alfred Molina come back as, Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus.
I love Dr. Octopus,
was just exciting to see those characters come back
and
in the MCU.
Yeah, the way he acts in this one, I kind of love to see that side of him.
Yeah, I mean, it was also
the side of Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see Hector come back differently. I mean, if you've seen Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'm still not a fan of how they brought the character in. But I was kind of a fan of those movies. But it's kind of nice to see him again, different than how he looked there. Because I will admit that was a little bit ridiculous in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. In the comic books, it wasn't like in the movies, like in the way they read them. The way they read them just underused them and just made him look really dumb.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool to see him come back here and kind of get redemption for that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that people who have those kind of feelings and stuff are dumb, but I don't think they would go to that far to just start becoming an evil villain and doing stuff. I mean,
but I think it kind of
pushes people farther than that for them to.
Yeah, but also I also feel like if anybody does like, oh hey, this person ignored me, it kind of vilifies them in a way where you believe they could become a supervillain or do some too much of people. So that's kind of why I didn't like him. And it was kind of not only was it just like a dumb origin, but if anybody does feel ignored, then it kind of makes those people look vilified for that reason.
I mean, don't get me wrong. That movie was great, and I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that the movie was dumb. I love that movie.
I did like the Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was pretty good. And I did like Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. So a lot of people unfairly bashed him as being the reason for the movie sucking, but he was actually pretty good. But yeah, all in all, it was great. It's hard to talk about in this spoiler-free review without wanting to just get into it, but I really enjoyed it. Like I said, even if Marvel never makes another MCU movie at all, I could die happy knowing this was the final one.
Yeah, I kind of hate hearing Andrew Garfield's name and then laughing at it, because
yeah, I know,
it makes you happy, but I can't say why.
But
even though people probably already know why.
Yeah, I know a few sites out there like comicbook.com has already freaking spoiled it, and not even trying to hide it. They just like post a freaking article with a huge spoiler and the picture and headline. I'm like, come on, guys, like I know you're desperate for clicks, but come on.
Another thing that's cool though is that they actually, some people like IMDb, I think it was them, actually spoiled it before the movie came out.
But yeah, okay, so if you've seen the movie, if you haven't seen it, you're planning to see it, I definitely suggest you try and go see it soon. It's definitely worth the price.
It is.
Of admission. It was definitely worth getting sleep for us.
It's worth going over and over and over again.
It is, I will have to say, geared more towards, a little bit in my opinion, hardcore MCU fans and hardcore Spider-Man fans,
Yeah, because
not
it did
just
feel like a
not just of this movie, but of the past
yeah.
movies. Because if you
It
just
kind of felt like a past movie with more comic booky feel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Which is like a classic Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's geared more toward fans of hardcore fans of the MCU, the comics, and the past films. Because if you hadn't seen any of those, I will admit you will be confused as hell going into it.
I think the funny part is that when you get any sleep, we had actually gotten the last vaccination shot.
Yeah, I came back with a fever. Yeah,
it probably would have hit us so hard because the shot hit us so hard, but because we hadn't gotten sleep and we were like up.
But yeah, I unfortunately feel like if for someone who's not as hardcore fan, just the past Spider-Mans even or just comics, but this movie does come with a little bit of homework for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably heard the characters already. If you're probably and again, it feels weird to say, if you're part of a younger audience, who probably didn't see the Raimi movies, you probably won't know who Green Goblin is or why those characters are so important. Or
and you don't even have to be a fan of the movies. You could be a fan of just the comic books, and this movie is like.
No, I kind of think it's geared toward hardcore fans who know these characters, who know their arcs, kind of. Because if you don't, obviously, I will feel like the Green Goblin arc might get confusing for you because you're kind of like, what the hell's up with this? Like, what's this? But yeah, I know there might be a few younger fans. It's again hard to say. Weird to say actually, who might never have seen the Raimi movies. Their Spider-Man was Andrew Garfield. So it might be a little bit confusing. I will say, for someone who hasn't, if you haven't followed everything or know their arcs on comics too.
For me, I know comic books. I grew up with comic books. I don't actually see my age. So when you have to say younger artists, you're like,
it's weird.
Oh wait, yeah.
It's weird. Oh, and if you're wondering, not going to spoil, but if you're wondering why all of a sudden Sandman in the trailers is against Spider-Man, they actually worked that in there in a way to where it kind of makes sense. I mean, for me, it was a little bit too sudden, but at the same time, it makes sense.
Yeah, but if we didn't have that in there, then...
Exactly, but again, Sandman is also another confusing character. If, for instance, no one's seen Spider-Man 3 or...
sometimes when they make these movies, they do leave stuff like that out. And just
like if you don't know... Because I feel like the story here continues kind of specifically the little arc they chose of Spider-Man 3 for him. So if you don't know that specific Spider-Man 3 arc, it might be confusing and say, hey, who the hell is this guy? Or how the hell does this guy know, Peter Parker? And everything like that.
So I think it's time to get to the spoilers.
Okay, so that's our review again. I absolutely recommend you see it in theaters if you can. See it right away. Like I said, definitely one of the best Marvel ones of the whole. One of the best ones of Phase 4, I'll say, at least. Now at this point, if you haven't seen the movie, I suggest, or if you just don't care, I suggest you bounce. I'll give you like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, because after that, there will be spoilers beyond this point.
Like Stewie said, switch over to another station.
Yeah,
I'll give you 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Okay, so if you have seen the movie or you just don't care, you're still here. There are things I want to talk about. For instance, the big one that bothers me, and I think it might have been explained in Venom movies, but this one comes in an after credit scene, is how does Venom know Peter Parker's Spider-Man? Since there is no Peter Parker in that universe, that did kind of bug me a little bit. But I guess I might be explained. I think in Venom he explains that Venom symbiote says that they're multi-universal, or he knows what other universe is, something to that effect. So maybe that might be explained later.
Yeah, and two, we haven't seen Venom yet, so
we haven't seen Venom 2 yet. That's where it happens. It's not that we have been a fan, it's just I just haven't seen it yet. But yeah, that was very interesting for me, the way they brought that in. Hopefully, they bring that in back later, because I know I think I saw Flash of Kraven the Hunter too when they were all coming in the end. So hopefully, maybe that means that. And sorry to jump again. I heard John Keaton's Vulture is going to be in the Morbius movie, so hopefully that means they're going to be finally connecting the two universes somehow. Because I would love for that to happen.
Yeah, I really had no complaint with it. I mean, the whole Venom thing, I feel like, he's Venom, he's an alien. Yeah,
it could be explained.
He also left a piece of himself.
Yeah, I am very excited to see where they go with that. And on that matter, I guess we can talk about everything.
I feel like, if you think about it, before we move on from that, if he leaves his pieces in universes, who knows if
the Venom from Spider-Man 3
Doctor Strange actually made everybody forget. He only made this universe forget, right?
I don't know. it's kind of like it made everybody forget, but then that kind of, I feel like if you made everybody forget, then that kind of just undoes the stories of the original trilogy and the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Probably have to go back and watch it again more carefully because in the theater I'm excited. Just with Tobey freaking Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming back.
That was awesome.
But
I
yeah,
know how there's one scene where they're complaining about it, how they all fight aliens except
except Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Yeah, I love that one. But yeah, with them, they're kind of, it's hard to pay attention to all the coolness going on. But I have to go back and watch it again. Like Far From Home Homecoming takes place in the second year, I think, of high school. So they would have been friends for quite a while before they found out he was Spider-Man.
I know, so that should have been erased. I don't feel like his whole life should have been erased with them.
I get Doctor Strange forgetting him. I get Happy forgetting him. But I don't get MJ because MJ was kind of somewhat stalking him during the first movie because she kept staring at him in the newspaper.
So they should have really thought about that really better at the end.
Because even then implies they've been friends for way longer than just high school.
I feel like he should have been able to have a photo in his hand to show them hey guys, you kind of had an amnesia thing, remember me, and then get to know them again.
Yeah,
but he had nothing. He was just and then he just kind of went out and talking to them.
Yeah, again, I gotta go back and watch the exact scene. We should go back when we get the chance. But yeah, kind of unless it was something universe, hey, everybody forget Peter Parker in general. Yeah. I feel that shouldn't have been. Maybe we just missed something in the linings, or we missed one of the lines.
I still think, and it's kind of looking and implying that MJ is going to actually get with his best friend. Yeah,
which actually might lead to the whole Hobgoblin deal. But we'll see how that works out.
And then when he finally, at the end, when he gets to his apartment and he's lonely, it's just the whole classic Spider-Man loneliness thing. It pisses me off because he was a different Spider-Man.
Exactly.
He shouldn't be living that sad, lonely life. He had friends.
The one thing I do love about the ending is that it shows him making his own costume. He had a sewing machine there.
That's kind of cool because, I mean, Tony Stark's costume is awesome, and that's kind of his ditching it. Yeah. But the fact that he actually creates his own is awesome because that's what he does. But
you just kind of wish they would have done that first. I mean, I get they have to bring an Iron Spider and all that for, Endgame and all that. But I kind of wish we would have had it. I know they had this whole main costume in the first one.
Because this is a different universe, I can see how that fits everything. So not really beefy about Stark giving his first costume.
No, I'm not really either, but I kind of just think it would have been nice to see.
He won't be able to fight aliens
But I guess that makes this going back, the basics thing, all the more worth it, because you get to see him be how he was in the comics.
And then he would have never survived the spaceship if he didn't have...
There's a lot more what we think, what we like to talk about. That could probably take an hour-long video. Maybe we'll do a podcast on it later. Yeah. But in the meantime, let us know what you think about the movie. What was your favorite moment?
I think it was the most epic one so far.
Yeah, definitely the best, the most epic Spider movie ever. Definitely. As much as I love Tobey Maguire, this one blows all of them out of the water.
Yeah, well, let us know what you think. Hopefully you enjoy this. And our next review is going to be about The Matrix.
Yes, so we'll be seeing that tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that. But in the meantime, we'll see you next time.